Hello everybody. Today we are going to start with the first grammar chapter. Our lesson is the simple present tense. First of all, we are going to talk about the rules of the present simple tense, and I'm going to give you some examples to clarify each rule. Let's start with the first rule. First of all, you have to know that verbs in the simple present are used with plural nouns or with pronouns like we, they, and you have no special endings. It means when a simple present verb, is used with a plural noun, it has no special ending, or in other words, it doesn't end with s. Okay, so this is the first rule. Verbs that are in the simple present when they are used with plural nouns or pronouns such as we, they, you, the children, the teachers, the bus drivers. When the noun or pronoun is plural, the verb doesn't end with s. It means it has no special ending. Let's look at the examples. We, they, or you play outside. As you can see, play is written in the root form. We didn't add any ending to the verb because we have plural pronouns. Let's see the second sentence. The children. The children is also a plural noun. Play outside. So as you can see, we didn't add s to the verb. We kept play in its root form because the children is a plural noun. Children is a plural noun. So the first rule that you have to keep in mind is that when the simple present is used with plural nouns or pronouns, we do not add s to the verb. The second rule is that verbs in the simple present tense with the singular noun or pronoun, he, she, or it, usually ends with s. It means if the subject, if the noun or the pronoun, the doer of the action is singular, we have to add s to the verb. Like he, she, it plays outside, the boy plays outside. We added s to the verb, and now we are going to discuss the spelling rules. But this is the general rule. The boy plays outside. So as you can see, we added s because boy is a singular noun. He, she, it are singular nouns. Now we are going to start with the spelling rules. When do we add es to the simple present verb? We add es to the simple present verb when the verb ends with o, like goes. Jane goes to school. So here we added es because the verb ends with o. sh, brushes. He brushes his teeth. So we added es because the verb here ends with sh. ss, like pass, passes. So we add es because the verb ends with double s. ch, like the word watch. He watches TV every day. So we add es because the verb ends with ch. When the verb ends also with x, we add es, like mixes. We added es because the verb ends with e. Also, when the verb ends with z, we add also es. So, we add es to some verbs which end with o, sh, double s, ch, x, and z. So, if the verb ends with one of these, it means we have to add es to the verb. Now, rule number 4. If the simple verb ends with y preceded by a consonant, we change y to I and add es. Let's see the example. Study. D precedes y. and it's a consonant letter, it's not a vowel letter. That's why we cross the Y and add IES, like Harry. Also, R precedes Y, and R is a consonant letter. So we cross the Y, or we drop the Y and add IES. So rule number 4 says that when a simple present verb ends with Y, preceded with a consonant letter, we have to change the Y to I and add IES. Rule number 5 is also related to the letter Y. If the simple present verb ends with Y, preceded with a vowel letter, it means preceded with A, E, I, O, or U, we have to just add S to the verb without changing the Y to anything else. Okay? If the subject is a singular subject. So like play, play ends with Y preceded with A, and A is a vowel letter. So we just add S to the verb. Like say, say also ends with Y preceded with A. So A is also a vowel letter. So we do not drop the Y, we just add S. The last rule says that verbs in the present simple used with I and you have no special endings. It means I say I write, I play, I eat, I drink, I study, I do, I watch, I brush, and I say the same to you. You write, you like, you watch, you play, you do, okay, you take, you make. So when the simple present verb is used with I and you, we do not add anything to the verb. Okay, so verbs with I and you have no special endings. It means I cannot say I writes or you plays. This is wrong. So these are the rules of the present simple tense, the spelling rules of this present simple tense. Let's see what's next. Now we are going to move to something very important, which is the uses. Let's read together the following sentences, underline the subject and the verb, and deduce the different uses of the present simple. Let's see. Self-confidence is a necessary survival trait. This is a general fact. Let's see the subject. The subject is self-confidence, and the verb is a necessary survival trait. So here, this sentence is stating a general fact. So the first use of the present simple tense is stating general facts. Number 2, we usually spend summertime in the mountains. As you can see, we is the subject and spend is the verb. We usually spend summertime in the mountains. It means every year. We do this habitually. So the simple present tense is also used to express habitual actions, actions which are repetitive, actions that you always do. I visit my grandmother on Saturdays. It means every Saturday I visit my grandmother. So this also is a habitual action. Number 3, Emma believes in her ability to succeed at her new job. This is an opinion. I'm just expressing a certain opinion. Emma believes, she thinks, okay? She thinks that she believes in her ability. It means I think, I believe, I guess. In my opinion, Emma believes in her ability to succeed. So here, Emma is the subject and believes is the verb. As you can see, Emma is a singular subject, so that's why we added S to the verb. So the third use of the simple present tense is to express a certain opinion. Number 4, The temperature reaches 35 degrees Celsius in this town during summer. The first thing that I want you to look at is 35. And then we are going to underline the subject, which is temperature, and the verb, which is reaches. Temperature is singular, that's why we added es. Why did we add es? We added es because the verb ends with ch. Now, I asked you to look at 35 degrees Celsius because this is a number. It's a real number. It's something real. It's a fact. It cannot be changed. So, the fourth use of the simple present tense is to express facts, real events. Number 5. Our plane leaves to Madrid at 10 a.m. Scheduled future action. What do we mean by scheduled future action? First, let's underline the subject, circle the verb. Plane is a singular subject, so we added s to leaves. Scheduled future action, if you can see here, they said at 10 a.m. When I say at 10 a.m. or when I state the time, it means this action is scheduled. I already planned for this action. That's why we say our plane leaves. So the fifth use of the present simple tense is to state scheduled future actions. Number 6. When you arrive at the beach, please send me a message in a time clause. So here I'm asking someone, when you arrive to the beach, please send me a message. Okay? So I'm asking you to do something at a specific period of time. Arrive is a verb and you is the subject. We didn't add s to arrive because here it comes with you. And we said when the simple present tense is stated with you or I, we do not add s to the verb. So these are the uses of the simple present tense. As we said, it expresses general facts, habitual or repetitive actions, opinion, fact or real events, scheduled future actions which are planned for, and in a time clause it means at a certain period of time. So as you can see, this is a summary. We've mentioned them. The 5 uses of the present simple tense: express habitual actions, a general or scientific fact, opinion, schedule future actions, and in a time clause. Now we are going to move to the form of the present tense. A person with low self-confidence avoids social gatherings. Let's see here. A person is the subject and avoids is the verb. Okay? As you can see, when the subject is singular, we add s to the verb. This is the first form. They avoid going to mountains during winter for safety reasons. They here is the subject, and as you know, they is a plural pronoun. That's why we didn't add s to the verb, because they is a plural pronoun. And we said when we have a plural pronoun, we do not add s to the verb. As you can see, they is the subject, avoid is the verb. So this is the form of the present simple tense. When we have a singular subject, we add s to the verb. Of course, based on the spelling rules that we have explained before. When we have a plural subject, the verb has no changes. It stays in its root form. Now, we have to remember this rule. What do we deduce at the end of all what we have explained now? We deduce that with third person subject pronouns, it means when I say he, she, it, we add s, es, or ies to the verb. It means when I say he studies, he drinks, she plays, it scratches, okay? So we are adding SES or IES to the verb. So we deduce that with the third person, he, she, it, we add SES or IES to the verb depending on the ending. Okay? It means if it ends with O, with X, with double S, if it ends with E. So it's based on the spelling rules that we have explained. With other subject pronouns, it means I, you, we, they. The verb remains the same. Now, we are going to explain something very important. Frequency adverbs. What are the frequency adverbs or adverbs of time that we use in the present simple tense? As we said, the present simple tense is a tense which expresses actions that happen habitually, facts, and so on. So, the frequency adverbs shows us when is the action happening and how often is the action happening. As you can see, always, frequently, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, seldom, occasionally, scarcely, never, etc. These are some of the frequency adverbs used in the simple present tense. We can also use, for example, every month, every year, every week, on Saturdays, on Mondays. These also are some of the adverbs used to in the simple present tense. They often come before the action verb, but after the verb to be. So this is the place of these frequency adverbs. Let's look at the examples here. She usually eats breakfast before she goes to school. The frequency adverb here is usually. It's written in bold here. It is written before the action verb. This is the action verb. Eats is the action verb. So the adverbs of frequency usually come before the action verb. She is usually late for work. Also here, usually is the adverb of frequency, and is here is the verb. As you can see, the frequency adverb here is written after the verb is. So, what do we deduce? We deduce that the adverb of frequency comes before the action verb, but if the verb is verb to be, it comes after it. Now we are going to move to the questions and negatives forms. Let's start with the affirmative form. Jen participates in school play every year. Now we have to write the negative form. Negative means the opposite form. Jen does not participate in the school play every year. Why did we use does? Because Jen is singular. Now, let's move to the question. We have to start with does because Jen is singular. So does Jen participate in the school play every year? And this ends with a question mark because it's the interrogative or the question form. Now you have to notice how we added very do to make the negative and question forms of the sentence. So now you are going to see how we added the verb do, and let's see the second example used with is. Jake is a self-confident person. Jake is not a self-confident person. And here we start the question with is. Is Jake a self-confident person? Here we don't add verb do because we already have a helping verb is. So when we do not have a helping verb, we have to add do in order to form the negative and the question form. But when we already have a helping verb is or are or am, we do not need to add do or does. So this is the conclusion. When we do not have a helping verb, we add a verb do to make the affirmative and negative forms of the sentence. When we have a helping verb is, has, have, am, are, etc., we use the verb and do not add the verb do. Now we are going to start with the first exercise. I am going to do this one and you are going to continue the rest of the exercises in the worksheet uploaded. So the exercise here says we have to put the verbs between brackets into the present simple tense. The plane arrived at 6:30. I want you to look at something here, it's very important, which is the plane. The plane is a singular noun. So we have to add s, so it becomes arrives at 6:30. I will phone you when he comes back, because he is a singular pronoun. So when he comes back. As you can see here, the first sentence is on time clause. The first sentence is future scheduled actions. It means it's scheduled that the plane will arrive at 6:30. The second sentence is an on time clause because it says that when he comes back, I will call you. Unless we, now we can't be there on time. Unless we start or starts. Let's see. The pronoun here is we, and it's a plural pronoun. So we should not add anything to the verb. It stays in its root form. So unless we start now, we can't be there on time. The sun in the east. The sun is a singular noun. And the sun rise in the east. It means that this is a fact. It's something that cannot be changed. Added to that, the sun is a singular noun, so we have to say the sun rises. Since rise ends with e, so we just add s to the verb. The next term, on Monday. This is a future scheduled action. So the next term begins on Monday. She and engineer. So this is also a fact, something that cannot be changed. It's something real. So be here is verb to be. So it's either is, am, or are. So she is an engineer. They, our relatives. I used is in number 6 because she is a singular pronoun. They is a plural pronoun, so we use are with a plural pronoun. So they are our relatives. When does the train depart? There's something very important. I used here does. When I use does in a sentence, it means even if the subject is singular, we should not add s to the verb. So I say, when does the train depart? Because I have does. I do not say, when does the train departs? So the answer is departs. Let's wait till his work. He is a singular pronoun and finish ends with sh. So here we have to add es. So let's wait till he finishes his work. Please ring me up as soon as he is a singular pronoun and this is an on-time clause. Arrive ends with e, so we just have to add s. So please ring me up as soon as he arrives. Let's now move to the next question, which is continue the chart as required. Here they gave us the affirmative form of this first sentence, the negative form of the second sentence, and the interrogative form of the third sentence. We'll solve them orally and then we'll check the answers in the upcoming slides. Paul and Mark come back home together. First of all, the first thing that we have to look at is Paul and Mark. Paul and Mark, it means more than one, so this is plural. That's why we said come, not comes. Let's write the negative form. Paul and Mark come back home together. The negative form is Paul and Mark don't or do not. Why did I use do, not does? Because Paul and Mark are plural. So Paul and Mark do not come back home together. In the interrogative form, as we said, we have to start with do. So do Paul and Mark come back home together? Of course, we have to add the question mark. Let's move to the second one here. They stated the negative form. Mrs. Davis doesn't work in an office. The affirmative form is Mrs. Davis works in an office. So I added s to work because Mrs. Davis is a singular noun. I have now to write the interrogative form. I start with does, of course. So does Mrs. Davis work in an office? Can you see? I didn't add s to the verb to work because we have does. Let's move to the third one. Do you usually solve your homework after school? This is a question. Let's write the affirmative form. You usually solve your homework after school. This is the affirmative form, the positive form. You usually don't solve your homework after school. So I always use the adverb of frequency before the verb. So that's why I said you usually don't solve your homework after school. Here are the answers. As we said, arrives, comes, start, rises, begins, is, are, depart, finishes, and arrives again. And here are the sentences in their different forms, the negative and interrogative forms that we have mentioned in the slide before. We have solved them orally. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward if you have any question or anything which is not understood. I hope you all ask me about. Thank you for watching.